Damn, I missed you all. Can't wait to get back on the air. February 2nd, 10 a.m. Eastern Time. The return of the Dan Bongino Show. Lovers, haters, friends, supporters, detractors, you're all welcome. Make that chat room fire. I want to hear it all. Rumble.com/Bongino, February 2nd, 10 a.m. Live. See you there.
Hello and welcome. Happy Thursday evening to all my homies in the chat. I'm Hayley Carania. Welcome to Nightly Scroll. That little promo of Dan just gets me so fired up. I could run through a brick wall. I'm so excited for next week. Monday, February 2nd. Not only is Dan Bongino going to be back at 10 a.m., 10 to 12, I'm going to be at 12. And again, I can't Nightly Scroll at noon. So Nightly Scroll starting Monday is going to be no longer. We only have 2 more Nightly Scrolls ever. And then never again. Then it's going to be Scrolling with Hayley. And again, I'm going to do my absolute best to get that right. Scrolling with Hayley, scrolling with Hayley, scrolling with Hayley. But until then, Nightly Scroll. And what do we have on Nightly Scroll tonight? Well, Governor Walz and Minority Leader Jeffries target the Trump administration with threatening language. I'm going to call out the double standard. Other Democrat lawmakers and newsmakers have just been saying all the wrong things. Their comments are aging like milk. Elizabeth Warren, Ana Navarro, Joe Biden, Obama, all of them. We're going to get into it. Then Scott Bryson joins me. He's going to break down that new video of Alex Pretti that we covered last night and Ilhan Omar's town hall incident in tactical detail. Put your phones on Do Not Disturb. Nightly Scroll starts now. Saw this video of Hakeem Jeffries. You know, he is the top dog of the House Democrats, right? He's the top dog. And from the very top down, these Democrats they're calling for violence. They're openly calling for violence when it comes to their Republican counterparts. And Hakeem Jeffries said this about DHS Secretary Kristi Noem. Listen.
It's disgraceful. She's got to go. We are dead serious. She needs to be put on ice permanently. She's got to go. And by the way, she's not the only one.
Okay, so it's not just Kristi Noem that's got to go and has got to be put on ice permanently. It's other people too. I don't know who else is on Hakeem Jeffries' list, but you know, in slang, putting someone on ice permanently to me would mean you want to kill them. And the Democrats, of course, will excuse this by saying, "Oh, well, you know, what he meant was, you know, he just wants to kill her. Not really. Like, he doesn't want to actually kill her. Maybe just in his dreams. Maybe he just fantasizes about it. But he didn't mean it. He didn't mean it like that. He's not actually going to do it. He doesn't actually want any harm to befall her." Or they'll say something, "Oh, he just meant it figuratively." It means, you know, he just wants to end her, as in, you know, end her time as DHS secretary. They pulled this stuff with the 8647. Do you all remember that? I know you do. When James Comey, former FBI director, you know, he takes his little picture of, look at these little rock formations, these shells. Isn't that so cute? 86. What does this mean? You know, he just plays stupid and he posts 8647 in a shell formation. And did we ever get to that was just on the beach? Or do you think that maybe James Comey did that? I don't know. But someone put 8647 in the shells on the beach. And of course, James Comey claims, well, I didn't mean that we should kill Trump. Like, I didn't mean that. And it wasn't just James Comey. It was, you know, one of the Krasenstein twins, the Twitter grifters. He did the same thing. It was like billiards balls that said 8647. He puts that out. And then, of course, he gets backlash because obviously. And he's, oh, I didn't mean that. I don't mean that. Then, of course, we saw, because it starts from the top and then people get influenced, unfortunately, by these Democrats. Some teacher went to the White House on a field trip with her students in an 8647 shirt that she wore in front of the White House, took a photo. It's all very calculated, right? So all of these people, they're under fire for posting this message, obviously targeted at President Trump. And then, you know, they'll say, well, yeah, I know that to 86 someone means to take them out, but I didn't mean it like that. I just meant, you know, to delete them permanently. I don't want them to die. I just want them to be unalived. You know, they do this language thing where it's like, well, I didn't mean it like that. You know, I'm not wishing death on Trump. I just want someone to hurt him really bad. And I want him to not be president anymore. And you get it, right? Excuses. So Now, here's Minnesota's disgraced governor talking about what he'd like to do to Vice President Vance. Very violent. Listen.
I would beat the shit out of him now if I could, and I would call that out. I mean, that's just different. In verbally going at it, my argument is much better. In making the case that housing prices are up because of immigration and that we should build on federal lands, it was such a crazy thing. But then when I watched him, I got sucked into that. And if you remember, this was right in that moment of eating dogs and cats. I took that bait and thought that that was the argument of how outrageous it was. That was not the argument.
So they're doing some Monday morning quarterbacking of the debate that was however long ago.
Monday morning is...
That's I'm joking. Like, it was years ago at this point.
2 years ago.
Yeah.
That's a lot of Mondays.
I know. So it's just funny. And then again, Tim Miller does not push back on Governor Walz, who says, like, I want to beat the shit out of Vice President Vance. He doesn't say, oh, hey, we're supposed to be taking down the temperature. Oh, wait, what's going on here? What do you mean by that? Of course not. This is just a sitting governor saying that he wants to, beat up the vice president. And again, the Democrats just let it go in one year, out the other. Tim Miller there, eyes just glazed over. He's just letting Tampon Tim say whatever. Yeah, sure. Yeah, it sounds good to me. No problem. And I guess Tim Walz maybe learned it from Joe Biden. Joe Biden on the campaign trail, he was picking fights with everyone. He did a town hall event. I don't know if you guys remember this, but this video is hilarious of Joe Biden and some guy is asking him a question. And, he's, well, listen here, fat. Look here, Jack. I'm going to take you behind the bleachers. And I'm going to, Joe Biden got very angry at times, and he took it out on President Trump and even just, factory workers and people at his town halls. So again, from the tippy top down, all the Democrats, very violent. They're very violent, and they use this rhetoric, right? And this all comes as Democrats demand that Republicans take down the temperature. They say that it's Republicans' rhetoric that is causing, all of this to happen in Minnesota, when in reality, these people have little to no control over their emotions. They're all, the politicians and the voters, the protesters in the street, they're all toddlers having temper tantrums. They do not know how to regulate their emotions whatsoever. They're in the streets throwing tantrums over a federal law enforcement agency doing what they've been doing for 23 years. They don't actually care about people being deported. They only care because Trump's doing it. They only care when they can use it as a distraction from the consequences of horrific policies and leadership in Minnesota, specifically right now. Which brings me to this. Governor Tim Walz confirms he is done running for office. Donezo, never again. Here's what he had to say.
We're already doing it.
Do you regret jumping out before such a consequential moment?
No, and part of it was true. Look, I recognize that I'm a lightning rod, and this is a tough space for I'm in because I know they hate me personally, and they take it out on my constituents because old white guys who are former governors tend to land on their feet okay type of thing. But in all fairness on the timing, I removed myself, and then 2 days later, Renee Good is murdered. But I think one of the things is I have no political consideration, will never run for an elected office again.
Never again.
Never again. And I will just do the work. And what I found is, again, I'm going to say this. There's heroes on the streets that we don't know their names. They're never going to run for office. And those grass-top leaders brought this administration to their knees this week to do something about it. So there's other ways to serve, and I'll find them.
Okay, so everyone say thank you, Nick Shirley, on 3. Okay, 1, 2, 3. Thank you, Nick Shirley. Nick Shirley, I think single-handedly made sure that Tim Walz could never run for political office ever again. The fraud thing busted wide open, and everyone's looking at you, Tim Walz, and you cannot run for political office ever again. You have been ruined. Your reputation has been ruined. If running with Kamala Harris wasn't bad enough, and again, he claims that he's this lightning rod. He's a lightning rod for the Trump administration. He's getting people all riled up. Not really. Tim Walz is a loser. I mean, he's an absolute loser. And if, by lightning rod, he means all the attention is on him because there's a massive fraud scheme happening in his state under his nose, then I guess. But he was only picked as Kamala Harris's running mate because he was the white guy that, their words, not mine, that could code switch to white guys. They thought that Tim Walz was going to speak to, middle of the road, maybe some independent voters, some real men, some real patriot men. They would see Tim Walz in his Elmer Fudd outfit and with his gun that he doesn't know how to load or anything. And I don't know, they thought that maybe some like normal average dudes would, I don't know, he would speak to them. It doesn't make any sense to me. Obviously, it didn't work. We all know that. But then, of course, in this video, whether it's turn the page, do the work, this like BS language that the Democrats use, if they're not, saying something violent, it's this weird woke mumbo jumbo. Okay, so do the work. He says that he's going to do the work, that he's going to do more work when he's out of office. Like, you're going to do more work in retirement when you were supposed to be doing work when you were the governor. What does that mean? Like, what is the work? And is it going to take Tim Walz the rest of his life to get to the bottom of the fraud happening in Minnesota? It might, because right now it's looking at, $9 billion and probably more. Maybe it will take him the rest of his life. I don't think he's looking too hard. I don't think he's actually getting to the bottom of it. I think he knows that if he gets to the bottom of it, he's going to find himself. There's just going to be a mirror at the bottom. And it's just Tim Walz. So this is like the same thing when Kamala Harris was tasked with finding the root cause of migration. Again, dig, mirror at the bottom. Oh, it's our own policies. It's the Biden administration. It's our own policies making all these people flood the border. But anyway, Tim Walz, he says that he's like an old white guy, so therefore he will land on his feet. And he says that there are other ways that he's going to get involved. I wonder how. I mean, how he said he's almost inspired by these protesters. There are people on the ground that they're never going to run for office, but look at all they're doing. I think he's been inspired by the paid protesters. I think he sees all the money that there is to be made out on the streets of Minnesota. And I think he's thinking, maybe this is my ticket. This is my golden ticket. There are too many eyeballs on the fraud in office. So let me see what I can do as a civilian. Let me see what I could do as a paid protester in the street. Other retired politicians have been weighing in on everything going on in Minnesota. And despite all of the goings on there, they are encouraging more people to go out and protest and get involved. Former President Joe Biden, he certainly didn't write this statement by himself. I don't know who wrote it, but I don't know if the auto pen is available for X posts, but certainly I don't think that Joe Biden came up with this himself. This seems very polished and like a speechwriter wrote it. But he said this: "What has unfolded in Minneapolis this past month betrays our most basic values as Americans. We are not a nation that guns down our citizens in the street. We are not a nation that allows our citizens to be brutalized for exercising their constitutional rights. We are not a nation that tramples the Fourth Amendment and tolerates our neighbors being terrorized." Well, let me just stop right there. We have constitutional rights, yes. What we as American citizens don't have is the right to impede law enforcement efforts, searches, detentions, harassing, and putting cops in danger. That is not protected under the First Amendment. You cannot argue that Renee Good and Alex Pretti were peaceful protesters. They weren't. And all of the ones that are out there, I'm not saying they're all violent, but a lot of them are violent. A lot of them are impeding these law enforcement investigations. Then Joe Biden goes on to say, "No single person can destroy what America stands for and believes in, not even a president. If we, all of America, stand up and speak out, we know who we are. It's time to show the world. More importantly, it's time to show ourselves." Whatever that means, but basically Joe Biden is saying, if you're out there in the streets, keep it up. And if you're not out in the streets, get out there. That's what he's saying. Show the world what we are made of. And then he ends the statement by saying, Dr. Jill and I were sending strength to the families, and we mourn their senseless deaths. Senseless deaths insinuates that these deaths were pointless, random, and for no reason. Both of these individuals are on camera obstructing law enforcement. It's sad that they died, but you can't argue that these cops just gunned them down for no reason. But then Joe Biden's predecessor. We've got Obama, his running mate, right? Obama puts out a statement also saying more and more Americans are voicing their outrage at the tactics being deployed by federal agents in Minnesota. But it's important to understand the broader implications of what this administration is doing and the threat it poses to the basic freedoms of every American. What? They always claim that our freedoms are being taken away. What freedoms? What is happening? What do they think is happening? Bro deported 3 million people. The cages that AOC cried in front of were implemented and used by his administration. I'm starting to think that all the DACA Dreamer stuff that Obama did, that was just to distract the liberals from all the deportation efforts. Like, literally look here, not there. And it worked. No liberals were upset at Obama for deporting more illegals than Trump, not one. And then Obama puts this out on X, and he puts out a link to this Vox article. And the Vox article tells people to donate to certain nonprofit groups. And, will the money that people donate actually get to people or causes that the donor thinks it's going to? Nobody knows for sure. Vox says that the money for certain groups will be used to get body cams for legal observers. Okay. It also tells people where to go to get their legal observer classes on. Other ways to help: you can go to the grocery store and do the food shopping or the laundry of illegals who might be detained or just afraid to leave their homes. And I'm sure there are a bunch of libtards in Minnesota who are raising their hand and they're saying, yes, I will do the laundry. Give me your dirty laundry. And I will do it so that you don't need to leave your house. I mean, these illegal aliens, they've got free flights from the Biden administration, even the Trump administration if you want to go home. Free flights, free healthcare in California, free driver's licenses and CDLs, and you've got free hotel rooms in New York City. I mean, now they get their food shopping done and their laundry done by just these bleeding heart white liberal Karens that, yes, give me your dirty laundry. Yes, I would be honored to do the dirty laundry of my fellow, what do they call them? Undocumented migrant or whatever. They always come up with some whatever. It's unhoused, not homeless. They call illegal aliens migrants or whatever. So there we go, right? They are also raising their hand to take care of the pets if they are detained. So that I can understand. I mean, the pets, I'm an animal lover. I get it. But doing their dirty laundry, not my freaking problem. If you're getting detained, the laundry's staying behind. Sorry. All these situations are completely avoidable, by the way. You don't have to live in fear. These illegal aliens choose to live in fear. They made decisions to come here and to either not become a citizen, or they made the decision to let their paperwork or documentation lapse, or they're illegal and a criminal. Maybe they weren't eligible to become a citizen, and for a damn good reason, right? And these Democrats don't want this to die down anytime soon. Biden, Obama, they want people out in the streets. They want people to keep funding this beast. And they keep pushing the narrative that Alex Pretti was just a good dude. So here is Governor Tim Walz on X. He's saying, I made a promise to Alex's parents to continue to tell his story. My goodness. An ICU nurse at the VA, an outdoorsman, a deeply generous, compassionate friend and family member, and a true son of Minnesota. Rest in peace, Alex. Okay. Meanwhile, very compassionate. He's harassing federal law enforcement agents. And Alex should have been behind bars a week before the incident that led to his death. Because this newer video that has come out of him spitting out a cop car or the agent's car and kicking the taillight out, this is a felony. It's a felony. And if law enforcement, if Tim Walz was working with federal law enforcement, ICE, instead of going against them, Alex Pretti might be alive today. He might be in jail, but he would be alive. But this one got me really good. This is Ana Navarro. She claimed to be a Republican at one point. She's like the resident Republican on, CNN and The View. She is so far from a Republican. It's insane. I don't know if she's just pretending to be a liberal for the TV or I don't know. She just lost her way. But This is Ana Navarro saying that Alex Pretti is such a good dude. You would want to date him. Watch.
They chose to, they killed the wrong guy, right? Because this is like the perfect guy. Alex Pretti is the guy you would want to date your daughter. The guy you would want your son to grow up to be a decent human being who was serving humanity, serving sick veterans, who is, there is nothing that has been said about that man that isn't wonderful. And so they can't malign him. They can't malign him because we have the videos.
This is wild. I mean, just because someone's a nurse doesn't make them a good person. Just because he worked with veterans doesn't mean that he wasn't also committing felonies in the street for weeks. Like, two things can be true at once. I'm sure he did good things in his life. I don't think that he was just a horrible person, but he made some horrible decisions. And then she claims that this is the guy that you would want your son to grow up to be just like, committing felonies in the street, and the guy that you would want your daughter to bring home and date. No, he's not the man you want to take home to mom. According to Pretti's ex-wife, he was involved in the George Floyd protests in Minnesota. He's been like this for years, right? This tells me he's a sheep. He easily falls for media propaganda, can't think for himself. He's probably quadruple vaxxed and boosted up. He puts himself in dangerous situations, clearly. Highly emotional, clearly. Physically violent, clearly. And armed, clearly. And also caught on camera committing felonies. Did I mention that? I think that was maybe the third or fourth time that I mentioned that. But I would actually be really scared to date Alex Pretti, Ana Navarro. I'd be scared.
He's also perfect.
Yeah, he's perfect.
What is he, Jesus? I mean, what are we talking about?
If he was perfect, though, would they need to have given him a spray tan, fix his teeth, fill in his beard, make his arms a little thicker?
It is kind of funny how they call him perfect. And right, the only perfect person is Jesus. But they do worship him.
Yeah.
It's kind of apt.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. Yeah, he's imperfect. And even they thought that he was physically imperfect. And, yeah. And even the media runs with it. It's just ridiculous. But this video really, I mean, when I saw this, sometimes I wish that there was a camera on me when I'm scrolling and getting ready for the show and doing all of this prep. Because when I see videos for the first time, I am cracking up. Like this video, I was cracking up. The Ana Navarro one, I was almost crying laughing. And this Elizabeth Warren one, I was cackling. Watch this.
Caring for people was at the core of who
This
he
is Elizabeth
was.
Warren speaking
he was
about Alex
incapable of causing harm. Alex carried
juxtaposition of
patience, compassion,
Alex Pretti
and
spitting
calm
on the car.
as a steady light within him. Even at the very end, that light was there. I recognized his familiar stillness and signature calm composure.
Calm composure. He's hawk-tooing on the cop car. He's, evading arrest. He's thrashing around. The juxtaposition is just chef's
How have I
kiss.
never heard of this guy before? I mean, he's so amazing.
He's so awesome. Yeah. He was
How
just
did he go under the
unknown,
radar for this long?
unknown to the community. Another thing, too, when Renee
Modern
Good
day
died,
martyr.
when Renee Good died, of course, they found out that she had written a poem one time. So now it's like mom and poet dead, and it's like, what? And I think we covered this on the show, but maybe I found one of her poems or something. It's horrible. It was really objectively horrible. But Renee Good, they had to say, well, she's a mom, she's a poet. And she had moved to Minneapolis from Kansas City just within the year. She didn't live there for very long. And they made her out to be this fixture in the community. Everyone loved her. All of her neighbors came out to say nice things about her. It's you people did not know her at all. You did not know her from Adam. There's no way that, she made this mark on the community in the 10 months that she lived there. They're just full of it. They're full of it. They're CNN cameras in their face. And they're like, yeah, she was just awesome. She was so nice. Of course, this is what they do. But this is ridiculous. I saw this. Dick Durbin, he was on the Senate floor, and he pulled up this AI photo. And I don't know what point he was trying to make here, but this photo is AI. This is an AI rendering of the shooting of Alex Pretti. And this photo is widely known as being AI now, because if you take a closer look, the agent on the right that's kneeling next to Alex Pretti has no head. He's the headless ICE agent, and I think that his leg is a piece of camera equipment, or it looks like he's got like a peg leg or something. I don't know what's going on. I don't know what I'm looking at, but all I know is it's not real. And I don't know. I mean, the headless ICE agent, this is like very mysterious. I don't know if Dick Durbin just didn't look at the photo before going with it. His staff didn't check. I mean, this has been all over X for days now, and everyone is saying it's AI, it's AI, it's AI. And interestingly enough, just last week, Senator Dick Durbin wanted to fast track this AI bill to, get to the bottom of deep fakes. So just last week, Dick Durbin's like, yeah, this AI stuff is bad. It's really bad. And then literally fast forward to this week, and he's got a deep fake on the Senate floor, and he's trying to make whatever point he's trying to make. But the hypocrisy is just hilarious. Quick ad break, and then I'm going to bring in Scott Bryson because we have to talk about the Ilhan Omar situation, also this Alex Pretti video. So lots to get to with him. Stay tuned for that. But I want to tell you about Helix Sleep. Winter is here, and honestly, I have been spending way more time indoors, especially in the bedroom. Staying cozy has never been easier since I switched to a Helix mattress. Before Helix, my nights were rough, constant tossing, back pain. It's exhausting. Then I took Helix's sleep quiz, and it matched me with the perfect mattress. No guesswork, no stress. Since then, my sleep is completely transformed. I wake up feeling refreshed, and it is amazing how much better my days are when I can actually sleep well. Sleep is everything. I got to get in the gym. I've been doing my 2 workouts a day, and I need to have good sleep. And Helix is definitely helping me out. So Helix, it's award-winning, ships free in the U.S., offers a 120-night sleep trial plus a lifetime warranty. And if you're not happy, they're happy with Helix Guarantee, makes returns simple and stress-free. Are you ready to upgrade your sleep? Head to helixsleep.com/Hayley for 20% off site-wide. That is helixsleep.com/Hayley, Hayley, for 20% off your entire order. And make sure you enter our show name at checkout so they know that I sent you. Nightly Scroll, helixsleep.com/Hayley. All right, so we covered this yesterday as well, this Ilhan Omar town hall that ended in a man lunging at her and spraying what Alpha News reporter Liz Collins said is a apple cider vinegar mixture. And it was, harmless. Ilhan Omar is fine. But she was on CNN. She's making the rounds, of course. This is an attack, and the Democrats are trying to make this out as, this is racially charged, and this is because of everyone's, got their eyes on the Somali community, and it's all Trump's fault, and whatever. So here is Ilhan Omar on Caitlin Collins' show. And I will say, I give Caitlin Collins a little credit where credit is due. She does attempt to push Ilhan Omar, but she doesn't ever say that the attack wasn't staged. Watch this.
Where he told ABC News just a few hours after this happened, she probably had herself sprayed, knowing her. What went through your mind when you heard the president's response last night?
Well, the difference between the president and I is that I was raised to be a decent human being, and my faith teaches me to have compassion. And he lacks both of those things. This is a president who presides over an administration that when they assassinated Renee Good told us that she was a domestic terrorist that was trying to kill the federal agents. When they assassinated Alex Pretti, they told us that he was a domestic terrorist who burnished a weapon. None of those things are true. They are known to be liars. They have constantly told us not to believe in our eyes. Fortunately, both of those assassinations were caught on camera, and so was what happened to me last night, caught on camera.
So when he claims it's staged, you say?
Well, I mean, this is also somebody who was talking about me in his town hall in Iowa, and then seems to exhibit some sort of dementia when he says he doesn't think about me. Maybe it is time for us for the 25th Amendment to be invoked, because he certainly cannot remember what he said and has done an hour ago.
It looks like there was almost an edit in the middle of that clip. I want to go back and make sure.
I cut it. I only
cut
cut the low. She just pauses in between its news, like cable news pause.
Okay, gotcha.
I only cut delays. I cut no content.
Okay, gotcha. I just wanted to make sure. But you'll notice in that clip, Caitlin Collins tries to say, the president said that you were faking it. The president said that you staged this attack. What do you say to that? She does not deny it. She does not deny it. Then I'm sure a lot of you follow Terrence Williams on X and on social media. He's a comedian. He's very funny. And he posted this on X. And Ilhan Omar responded to him. This is what Terrence had to say. He said that he was going through these poison control instructions. He wrote this: Dear Ilhan Omar, I spoke with poison control. Their instructions were very clear and you didn't follow any of them. They said, if you are sprayed with an unknown substance, get to fresh air immediately. Do not touch your face. Remove contaminated clothing. Rinse skin and eyes with running water for 15 minutes. Wash with soap and water. Seek medical attention right away. Call poison control for guidance. You didn't do anything on this list because it was staged. Then Ilhan Omar responded to this tweet: I didn't do any of those things because I fear losing my dignity more than I fear losing my life. Something you coward losers will never understand, so fuck off. Okay.
She wants her Donald Trump fight moment really badly.
That's exact. I'm so glad you brought that up because, President Trump, I will say, that was an assassination attempt, much different than having apple cider vinegar sprayed on you. However, when President Trump wanted to keep going, the Secret Service stepped in and said, no, we're getting you to safety. At some point, if there is a real active threat, your feelings and what you want to do gets trumped by making sure that you are safe. Your safety comes first. When you were the president, when you were a sitting member of Congress, she is saying, well, I don't really care about staying alive. I just wanted to finish my speech. Well, you can't finish your speech if you're dead. So what do you mean? What do you mean? She definitely wanted that fight moment. I'm not going to let the haters get me down. I still have more to say. So I want to bring in Scott Bryson, former Secret Service agent. He is the host of the Beyond the Service podcast. And he comes here we usually do this once a week. I haven't had him maybe in 2 weeks, so I'm excited to have him back. But Tactical Detail starts now. Hey, Scott. So have you seen this video with Ilhan Omar getting sprayed with what we think now is apple cider vinegar? It's been reported by a few outlets now, but Alpha News confirmed yesterday that they spoke with the hazmat team that tested it, and they say that it was apple cider vinegar. So I want your opinion on this event.
Yeah. Well, it's good to be back. It's been a little while. But I saw the video, and I think it's quite interesting. I don't want to go so far as to say I know it's staged, because I don't know that it's staged.
Right,
but
we
it
don't know
certainly doesn't pass the smell test completely. So regardless of whether it was staged or not, if you're getting it, let's just say that it wasn't. Let's say it's a real thing. You're getting doused with a liquid. You don't know if it's water or urine or some type of poison. Your dignity, no offense, but your dignity is the last thing you're thinking about. And when she talks about grace and her religion, she didn't really convey that in the way she tweets, does she? But that's a topic for a different day. But if this guy doused me with something, the first thing you're going to, hopefully someone's going to go to the problem, and then you're going to get to the nearest restroom and start, applying water. It's pretty common sense.
Yeah, so she continued that speech for allegedly around 10 to 12 minutes. Some people say 20 minutes. So this is odd to me because there were a few security guards in the video. One went to tackle the guy immediately. Then another security guard came to Ilhan Omar's defense. I did find it odd, and I talked about this yesterday when I covered this, but Ilhan Omar lunged at the guy that had the apple cider vinegar or the syringe, right? She lunged at him and actually had a pen, what looked like a pen in her hand, and was kind of coming at him. that is a strange reaction to me. I feel like if you think that there is a active threat against you, I don't know why you would go towards the danger. What is your reaction to that?
No, that is not, in my humble opinion, in my professional and humble opinion, that is not a normal reaction. I mean, Donald Trump is 6'3", and I realized that a bullet grazed his ear is a little different, but I mean, he flinched. I mean, he had a natural, normal reaction. He is a very bravado. He sums up bravado, and you saw what he did. He dropped to the ground and hid behind the protective measures that were on the stage. That was a true reaction. What she did, like, it's a guy versus a girl, and you're going to just go attack that's just not normal. That whole thing, I don't know. Maybe she's tougher than what she looks, but that is just not, in my humble opinion, that just doesn't pass the smell test. It just looks very, very staged. I don't know that it is, but doesn't look like a very normal reaction.
Yeah.
I mean, here's the thing: reactions are always, slower than an action. That's why the Secret Service was very thorough with their advance work. Of course, I always try to preface it with that, because July 13th was definitely a black eye for us. But 99.9% of the time, the Secret Service is so thorough and do such a good job of advance work, because on a rope line, if someone wants to sucker punch the protectee, they're probably going to get at least one punch in. But the normal reaction is to shy away. I don't care. I mean, has she ever watched a boxing match? I mean, there was a heck of an MMA fight this week, and those guys were slugging it out, and they're ducking and dodging. I mean, there's a time and a place for everything. I mean, the fake bravado, to me, it stinks to high heaven.
Yeah, I agree with you. And something else that I thought was weird that I want your security opinion on, because you are an expert in this space and you've provided security for, the president. You've, people like high up people, congressmen, politicians, right? What I don't understand is this security guy, one of them tackled the guy. Okay, great. The other guy comes over and people start coming around to Ilhan Omar saying, you've got to get checked out. What are you doing? But she says, no. The security guard comes to her and says, we've got to take you out of here. And she says, no. At what point does the security guard have to make the call and say, you're not finishing your speech? You just got doused with something.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's the difference. But we've talked about this multiple times on your show. There's a difference between leadership and management. And the guy that's standing there, or the young lady, whoever, the detail leader is responsible for her security. He or she has to make the decision. We're going to go get checked out. If it turns out to be nothing, which we obviously want it to be nothing, we'll be right back in 5 minutes. They have a hold room. I mean, every one of these politicians, in the media, you guys have green rooms, right? They have a hold room. They have a restroom. I mean, these people are sometimes in long motorcade routes, and they drink water to stay hydrated. They have to go to the restroom. That's not unusual for someone to say, hey, I'll be right back. The detail leader, in my professional opinion, if it was me, I would have been like, you know what, we'll be right back. We're gonna take 5. Where are the people going to go? If they're really there to hear what she has to say, which for some reason they were, they're going to stick around. What's 5 minutes going to, what's 2 minutes? What's 10 minutes? We've got to make sure that this person is okay. We'll be right back. I mean, if you don't understand that, then you're completely out of touch with reality. The whole thing I feel like the whole thing's just bogus.
Yeah, I thought that was so odd too, and why is the security guard saying, "Oh no, yeah, you're right. You want to finish your speech? Yeah, no problem." It's like, well, you're a horrible security guard then.
Yeah.
Anyway, I want to move now to a different story in Minneapolis. Obviously, we've covered the Renee Good situation, and I have been completely honest with my viewers here, where the Renee Good situation, pretty black and white. You can hear a lot of the audio happening between Renee Good, her lover, the ICE agents. You can hear what's going on. You can hear what's being said. You can hear them trying to get her out of the car. You can tell that she is resisting. She is not. Okay. So that's one thing. Pretty black and white, in my opinion. This video of Alex Pretti, to me, was harder to decipher what was going on. Yes. And we can play it now, this video of this shooting, and I want your initial reaction. You can hear that they're spraying him with some kind of a tear gas. Someone else is whistling. That's a protester, I think. I think he's dragging this other person on the ground. I don't know what they say that he stepped in to help. It just seems like he's not helping at all. What makes this difficult is everyone's wearing similar color clothing. You can't tell, especially on top of Alex Pretti, who's touching what and whose arms or whose. So there's been a lot of theories going around about, oh, well, the one ICE agent was trying to disarm him. My theory is that the ICE agent that was disarming him, the other ICE agent who ended up shooting Alex Pretti, thought that that was Alex reaching for his firearm instead of the other ICE agent. Again, I have no way to prove that. I have no idea. I'm just trying to sort of make sense of this video. And all of America, right, is watching this video, trying to figure out what's going on. People think different things. I want to hear from you.
Yeah, no, this is very, this one's very gray. I did a video on Instagram on this exact angle I had. This was the second angle I had seen. This one came off of X. And unfortunately, it does not give you that quote unquote smoking gun, no pun intended. But it wasn't the angle that I was hoping for. I'm hoping that the body cameras on every agent or officer out, I'm hoping that we'll have 4 or 5 or 6 more angles to show up. The problem is in law enforcement, and I know you and your audience understand this, but a lot of people out there may not. Even your audience may not understand this. There's the spirit of the law and there's the letter of the law, and they were doing their very best to enforce the letter of the law. The problem is he's there protesting. It wasn't a peaceful protest. They can say it's just remember back to 2020 when the reporter's standing there and the police departments are on fire behind them, or the police cars, and people are in the street raising all manner of cane. Is it mostly peaceful? No, it's mostly not peaceful. But you're saying what you want it to be. And the problem is now we have video evidence that is very, very gray. And like you said a minute ago before I came on, 2 things can exist at the same time. And this is what I said on Instagram. And man, I caught a bunch of hate for it, but thankfully I have thick skin and don't really care. I can be sorry that the man is dead. And I can also hope that it was justified shooting. It could turn out to be a Derek Chauvin thing. Derek Chauvin didn't really kill George Floyd. The fentanyl did, but it's a bad optic. He should have never pulled him out of the car. He should have never put his, this is what separates us from them, Hayley, is that when my brothers and sisters in blue screw up, because you know why they screw up? Because they're humans, and every single human being on this earth is flawed. And I loved what, I don't know if it was Justin or Guy was saying off camera a minute ago. It doesn't matter about what job you have. There's doctors who are bad. There's teachers and preachers. And unfortunately, there's some bad cops out there. But let me tell you something. I want your audience to know this. 30 years of my adult life I gave to law enforcement. And I worked with some guys that I didn't gravitate toward, maybe different personalities or whatever, badge heavy, whatever. I never met a person who woke up and said, I'm going to go to work today and try to kill somebody. That's just not a thing. I mean, those are psychopaths. Psychopaths generally aren't cops. So is this tragic? Yes, 1,000%. This is very tragic. And I feel like you're probably onto something. And it can be very bad optically, and it can still fall within the letter of the law. And regardless whether it was, first of all, he was not assassinated. He was not. They're using these buzzwords. They're trying to stir up a hornet's nest. They race bait. It's right versus left. It's black versus white. It's all straights versus gay. It's all just race baiting and a political banter, and it's rhetoric. Not to say that people on our side of the aisle don't, make mistakes sometimes and say some things we shouldn't say, but by and large, most of this hateful rhetoric comes from one side of the aisle, and the problem is words matter. And to your point, before I came on the show, had he been arrested and incarcerated and been under bond for kicking out the car taillights and assaulting those officers, the man could still be alive today. So the system failed him, if you ask me.
Absolutely. And you brought up a great point about these cops being human, right? We're all human. The protesters are human. The cops are human. And everyone, well, I shouldn't say everyone. I'm getting the feeling, I was going to say everyone wants to go home at the end of the day. I'm getting the feeling that some of these protesters they think that it would be a badge of honor to die on this hill. And that's very scary. But I think that the majority of people want to make it home at the end of the day. They have families, they have pets that they love. They're going home to someone or something that needs them and loves them. And, they go out in the streets, and it just seems to me that it's a experiment. It's a social experiment. What the Democrats are doing, they're using their voters, they're riling them up. Then they're riled up, they teach them. I just covered in the show, Obama is telling these people where to get trained in being a legal observer. What the hell is that even? So whatever. So they're all getting trained in being a legal observer. I'm a legal observer too, apparently. This is all it takes. So they take these training courses on how to film ICE agents. And what they're doing is they're rage baiting them. They are basically, for weeks on end, they have megaphones, they have whistles, they are breaking these humans down. And it's very difficult. And someone in the chat also said this, and I don't know who said it, but, when I was saying this video is so hard to tell what's going on because everyone's, wearing the same stuff and it's hard. And like you said, it's gray. Someone in the chat brought up a great point. Imagine being in it with all the adrenaline of, there's a guy with a gun and he's assaulting you. And it's like, imagine, we're watching this video and we can slow it down and watch it again and again and again. In that moment, you just have a split second. And these people have been worn down for weeks now.
Yeah. No, 100%. And the problem is, we're going to armchair quarterback. Like you said, you can break these thing down frame by frame into the millisecond and different things like that. In my 30 years, I wasn't on the front lines for 30s. I'm not acting like I had the hardest police career in the whole world, but there were times when I was on the front lines. There were times when I was undercover as an agent, and I got into some hairy situations. And you get tunnel vision. I don't care what your training is. You're going to fall to your lowest level of training, and there is a human component to it. And the thing I would want to say too to your audience is, I'm so sick and tired of the cops did this and the cops did that. Well, what about the protester? There's two sides to every story. Why? Listen, First Amendment, I'm all about the First Amendment. I'm all about the Second Amendment for 100%. Without the Second Amendment, you're not going to have the First. But why bring a gun? What's your point? Now, I want to be very clear with what I'm about to say, because I'm not insinuating this toward this man at all. However, there are people in society that want to die. Again, not saying he did. And it's called suicide by cop. And they don't have the guts to do it. And so they get the cops to shoot them. I've been to those situations where people have been, killed because you don't know what that guy, he's got a gun, or it could be a woman. It could be a woman standing in an intersection with a pistol. You're just going to let her shoot up innocent people walking by? No, of course, every situation is a little different. You try to talk them down and you do all the things. You don't just go right to guns. That's not what I'm saying. But, why would this man be out there protesting with a pistol? That, again, I'm not trying to say that he was had mental issues or that he wanted suicide. I'm not saying that at all. I'm just saying that's another component to some of these mental health crises that cops have to deal with. But they're so easy to judge them when you're from the comfort of your couch, drinking a cup of coffee and breaking this thing down. Meanwhile, this person was under a tremendous amount of stress. And unless you have walked a mile in that person's shoes, you have no idea what they're going through.
Yeah, and we've talked about this on the show before. Justin was even saying earlier this week, there's a responsibility to being a lawful gun owner, and you can, carry, and you might be following the law, but you have to do certain things and act certain ways. You can't drink. You can't get into a fight with cops, for example. I mean, there's certain things that are going to put you in harm's way. And I kind of want to go through some theories here, because we don't really know what happened. But there's some theories online that it was actually his firearm that accidentally discharged, and maybe that spooked the cop. And in that case, I mean, maybe the family has a case against the gun manufacturer. But based on the video, did you see anything that could have signaled that it was actually his firearm that went off first?
No, I mean, that video, unfortunately, and that's not just, I've seen two different angles, and the videos are just the ones that we've seen so far that have been released to the public don't really show a clear, at least to me. I haven't had a capability of zooming in on it. Maybe the FBI or somebody's been able to dissect it a little bit better. But from where I'm looking at, from my professional opinion, over 30 years of dealing with stuff just like that, I mean, it doesn't matter. Like, if the gun wasn't there, we wouldn't be having this conversation.
Right.
They see a gun. Let's say that you and I, Hayley, let's say that you and I and Justin and Guy are trying, we're the four people on scene, we're trying to arrest person X, and you say gun. I don't see the gun, but you do. And I trust you. You know why? Because you're my partner,
right.
and you have the same training. And so, and then you hear pow. You don't know, listen, this is what court's for, and I would not want to be a judge on this case. I wouldn't want to be a lawyer in this case. I really feel bad that the man is dead. If I had to guess, we probably wouldn't have had too much in common, but nevertheless, I don't want people to die.
Right.
That's why I know I'm on the right side of these arguments, because I don't want people to be hurt. I just don't understand why we can't go out and legitimately peacefully protest and not bring violence into it. I mean, imagine if ICE were able to go out on the streets. They have a hard enough job anyway, and do their job unobstructed. What kind of a world would that be? I don't understand why these people are protecting these violent criminals anyway. A lot of the times they're going after the worst of the worst.
Yeah.
They're not going into your elementary schools pulling second graders out. They're getting the rapists, the murderers, the child molesters. They're getting the gangbangers, the MS-13. They're getting the hardcore criminals out first. I'm not saying that might not happen later. I don't know what the SOPs are for ICE, but right now they're going after these really bad criminals, and I just don't understand why certain people want to protect. You talk about wanting to protect everybody and being tolerant. You're the most intolerant group of people I've ever been around. It's unbelievable. Yeah. The hypocrisy. They wouldn't know hypocrisy if it bit them in the butt.
Yeah, and, I'm going to play devil's advocate a little bit with this last question on Alex Pretti, and then we can get into some of our Ring doorbell videos that we normally do in this segment. But I want to ask you this because you have experience being a law enforcement officer, and maybe you don't know the answer to this question. And again, it's very gray. So I'm asking because I'm just curious. I think both sides could probably present an argument and a pretty good case here. So it'll be interesting to see what happens as this plays out in the court of law. And again, your opinion and my opinion don't really matter because it's not up to us. But I'm just curious, right. If the agent did disarm Alex Pretti, do you think it would be justified then for him to be shot in the back? Because there's this reasonability question. If you have a reasonable argument that you were fearing for your life. And again, if the gun had accidentally discharged, then yeah, I think these cops absolutely have a case. But when is it okay? Is it ever okay to shoot someone in the back and claim that it was self-defense?
Yeah, that is a tough one, especially generally speaking, there's case law against this. Tennessee versus Gardner, a young male, 15-year-old male back in the 70s had broken into a home and robbed, stole like $10 and got shot, jumping the fence in the back and died. Now the cop didn't know he was a 15-year-old. He saw a guy flee. Anyway, right. You can't do it. You can't. So there's case law on that saying you can't shoot a fleeing felon, unless they're going armed to the terror of the public or whatever. So the bottom line is, to answer your question, and I don't want to get too in the weeds on this because, I'm hoping for a good outcome. It could turn out very well, Hayley. It could turn out to be non-justified. Whether it's justified or unjustified, the man's dead, and that sucks. But for the law enforcement, I can't imagine what that person's going through that actually, ended up pulling the trigger.
Yeah.
His life pretty much, ruined at this point. And unless he just had malice in his heart and was like, hey, I'm going to kill you and execute you, that's between him and God. And only he knows what's in his heart. I don't think that's the case at all. Right. Not even knowing who it was. I don't know of a law enforcement officer who would want to do that. That's just not the kind of people who are in that line of work. It's a selfless line of work. There are selfish people in this world and there's selfless people in the world. Most of the people I've ever worked with, 99% of the people are very selfless.
Yeah.
It's a very tough situation. I hate it happened. But no, to answer your question, the best I can is you have to be in fear of loss of life or imminent severe bodily harm to you or a third person, right?
Yeah.
Well,
I think they have a good case for that too.
Yeah, it's going to be very it's going to be some drama in the courtroom unfolding for sure.
Absolutely. Well, I only have you for a few more minutes here, but I do want to get some of our doorbell videos and others. So this first video is a woman, and people are kind of making fun of her in the comments because they're saying that she doesn't have very good survival instincts here. But she hears some chanting in the storm. She's out in a snowstorm, and she goes and follows the noise. Watch this.
Bro, I don't know where it's coming from.
It's kind of faint, but listen, there's some like
genuinely,
chanting
what is this?
voices.
It just keeps going. What the fuck? Oh my God.
She got spooked and she's running away. Okay.
That looks like the ending of a bad horror movie. I mean, maybe this chick's never seen Blair Witch Project. I mean, listen, go the other way.
Yeah.
I don't know what to tell you.
This is my thought too. So I saw this and I'm thinking, I already know what Scott's going to say. But first of all, you're a woman, you're walking alone in a snowstorm. Anything can happen, right? Maybe, the killers, the murderers, maybe they're not out there because it's the middle of the storm. But you could run into something else. I don't know. If I heard this chanting or this weird music or anything, listen, I'm hightailing it out of there. What I wanted to ask you is, there are, and I don't know if this was the case, but there are cases where people who are up to no good, they want to do harm, they will play certain songs or sounds to kind of lure women into the bushes, the woods, whatever. This actually happened on my college campus. I think I was like a junior or senior. They were warning us, there is someone on campus, he is playing like crying baby noises in the woods. Women, obviously, it's like our natural instinct to go, is there a baby that needs help in the woods crying? Like it's this, they're playing on this natural instinct. And I think women more so fall for this stuff. They hear something and it's like, oh, let me go follow it. Listen, this is the person who would die first in the horror movie. But have you heard of anything like this? I mean, criminals trying to lure women with these kind of noises. I don't know if they would use this chanting noise, but this woman fell for it, kind of.
Yeah, of course. I mean, to your point with the college thing, these criminals, they'll stop at no means to get a woman alone to, rape her or sex traffic her or just whatever. But, and again, nothing really bad happened here. So I feel like I can be a little bit more frank. We never victim shame on your show, but it's like, it's not really your job to save the world. I know they're preying on your motherly instincts and your kind-heartedness, right? I want people to be kind. Trust me. I want people to be nice, but it's not your job to save the world. If you're that concerned, hey, 911 right now. And look I saw a stop sign say, hey, I'm at the corner of Church Street and Main Street. I need help right now. And they're going to send the cavalry right now. You don't have to do this thing solo is what would be my takeaway.
Yeah, absolutely. This next video is a Ring doorbell footage video, which we love here. This one is extra spooky, though. I actually don't know if this is a woman or a man, but this is a very scary looking person with a knife in their mouth. Watch this. So this is a person coming up the staircase here. It looks like an apartment complex, and she's going up the stairs. She's wearing like a toga, nightgown, bed sheet, something. I don't know. I can't tell what's in her hand, but she has a knife in her mouth, and she is looking under the doormats for a key.
Yep.
So you could see in this video, again, I actually tattoos all over, very kind of emaciated, erratic behavior. This is someone that, I don't know, maybe they're homeless, maybe they're on drugs, troubled, certainly. But this person is going around to this apartment complex, looking under all of the doormats, trying to find a key to get in. So what would you say to people who leave their key under the mat for the dog walker, the housekeeper, a friend, anything like that?
Listen, that is a stark reminder of what not to do, right? Thankfully, she was 0 for 2 with the doormats. That was a bizarre looking woman. I don't know if she was cracked out or what her problem was, but the fact that she had the knife in her mouth, I mean, that was very troublesome to me. Yeah, you can't listen, guys, you can't put a key out like that anymore. You have to, if you have a dog walker or something like that, some type of service, hopefully you've vetted them and they're trustworthy enough. You got to give them a key. I mean, if they're getting in your apartment to walk the dog anyway, they're coming in anyway. So just give them the doggone key.
Right.
This is a good example of, just if you're going to have quote unquote, a stranger or a third party coming in your home, if they're trustworthy enough to come into your home to walk your dog, you should probably just give the company a key. Don't leave it under your mat. That's a loser.
Yeah, or just try to be home. I know dog walker, different situation, but like housekeeper type situation. I know people want to, oh, well, I'm at work. Come in and out as you go, as you please during the day. I'm not going to be home, but let yourself in, let yourself out. I would probably say that it's best to stay home when these people are in your home anyway. I know we trust people a lot, but maybe we shouldn't. You can't trust people on the outside, the inside. Anyway, I wanted to play one more video with you. I know we're coming to the end here, but this woman, this is a video 18, guys, but this woman, she does not live in this apartment, but she tries to enter the apartment. This is another apartment complex situation, not a key under the door situation, but they just left their door open. And this woman, strange woman, tries to enter the apartment, but they had a secret weapon. Watch this. She enters the door, and their Australian Shepherd comes out and starts going all attack dog on her. She tries to use the garbage can to put some distance in between her and, Max over there. And certainly, if you don't have a gun, it's good to have a dog, right?
It is good to have a dog. First of all, let's maybe try to keep the door locked. I know we can't live in a state of perpetual fear, and we don't know the context of that footage. She could have just been coming in or out to the gym or had a friend. I don't know what's going on, but you got to keep your doors locked. I harp on that all the time. Apartment doors, home doors, car doors. Ladies, men, get in your car, lock your door. Get in the apartment, lock your door. We've seen, Hayley has shown plenty of videos on here where people are trailing a would-be victim, and thankfully these women are switched on and they lock the door. So you got to get in your apartment, lock the door. I love the dog coming out. It's not exactly, Fido there doesn't exactly, look like a killer. But here's the thing too, Hayley, in all seriousness, like my daughter has a golden retriever, and that thing will lick you to death, but she's got a very deep, dark bark. And the guy on the other side of the door goes, well, is that a German Shepherd or is that a golden retriever? I don't know. So maybe they leave. You just never know.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I have a cat. She would probably sooner sell me out to the person trying to break into my house. They say that dogs are much more loyal in that, if you die at home, like your dog won't eat you. Cats apparently will eat you. They start at the nose apparently. And I just want to say to that, Birdie, she might not be an attack dog. She might not eat the bugs that I would like her to eat, but I would let her eat me. If I died and she had nothing to eat, I would let her eat me. Just want to say that for the record.
You're such a good person.
We're ending on that note. But Scott Bryson, thank you for being here. I want you to plug your podcast and where people can follow you.
Okay. Oh, yeah. Scott Bryson Beyond the Service. It's over on YouTube right now. Scott Bryson BTS on all socials and YouTube.
Awesome. Thanks for being here.
All right. Thank you.
All right. Thank you for watching this episode of Nightly Scroll. Thank you for scrolling along with me. I will have scrolling time for you tomorrow. I promise. And I will answer some of the questions that I haven't answered on social media yet. So all of that to look forward to. I know I teased yesterday that I was going to have some cute dog videos for you, dog videos in the snow. And I will have those for you tomorrow because I keep my promises. So you can follow me on social media at Hayley Caronia, HayleyCaronia. I'm on TikTok. I'm on Instagram, X, Truth Social, all the good ones. And I'll see you right back here tomorrow.